My beloved child, this moment is not an accident, nor is it a coincidence that has randomly appeared along your journey. This is an appointment I have arranged since the very beginning, from the moment your first breath was given. I ask you, are you ready to walk forward, not because I do not know the state of your heart, but because I want you yourself to face the answer, to let your soul acknowledge that readiness? One question from me has the power to shake the inner depths, for it does not merely sound in the ear but is etched deep within the heart. When you respond, you are not only speaking a word, but you are acknowledging the true condition of your being before the one who created you. Understand this. What I am waiting for is not perfection, but an open heart. You may say, I am not sure, I am trembling, and I will still take your hand. For readiness is not the absence of fear, but the courage to step forward despite it, trusting that I am with you. This is the moment for you to look back on your previous steps sometimes bound by burdens, weighed down by disappointment, or restrained by the words of others. But today I do not ask you about past failures, nor do I demand explanations. I simply ask, are you ready to step into what is new, into the place I have prepared this moment? My beloved child is a wondrous intersection where your time meets my timing. On the calendars of men you will not see this appointment recorded, but in the records of heaven every minute of this meeting has been sealed. I've chosen this hour to stir your heart, to encourage you, to grant you the awareness that you are not merely living to exist, but to walk into a path filled with purpose and meaning. Therefore, I want you to reflect not with the narrowness of reason, but with a soul open to see that what I have prepared far exceeds what you imagine. Tonight, as you hear my voice, remember that this is not merely a message of comfort, but a call. I am setting before you the door of a new season. That door does not open by human power, nor can it be shut by opinion or prejudice, but it is opened with the key held in my hand. To pass through that door, you need not carry the old baggage, doubt, bitterness, shame, for all these only weigh your feet down. The only thing I ask you to bring is a heart of trust. You may think, my faith is too small. Will it be enough? And I answer that even faith as small as a mustard seed is enough to move mountains, for the power lies not in the seed, but in the one who gives it life. Remember the times I was present even when you did not see me. When you thought you were alone in the night, I was there. When you collapsed, I lifted you up. When you wept in silence, I counted every tear. And today I want you to know this moment is the confirmation that I have never left you. This is the night I invite you to cross into a new chapter where darkness no longer has the right to bind you, and where my light will guide your steps. You may hesitate. You may ask, why me, why now? But I declare to you, because you are chosen, because your faith, though small, is seen by me, and because my timing is always perfect. I have witnessed your perseverance in the storm. I have heard your silent sighs, and I have received your sincere prayers. Now I want you to realize this is no longer the time to delay. This is the time to step forward. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 1:4. This scripture reminds you that readiness does not mean solving everything by yourself. Readiness is surrender, trusting that there is one who goes before you, who prepares the way and fights on your behalf. The only thing I ask you today is, will you dare to say, yes, I am ready, and my beloved child? When you dare to speak those words, the door will open not only in one area of your life, but in many, in your soul, your mind, your relationships, and your future. I will turn your steps into steps of blessing. The ground you tread will bear the imprint of my presence, and you will know that in the very moment you acknowledged your readiness, a new journey began. My beloved child, I call this moment the night of breakthrough. This is not merely a beautiful image, but a spiritual reality unfolding all around you. There are chains that once bound your soul, leaving you weary on the journey. There are invisible walls built from fear, doubt, and painful memories. But tonight I declare that those chains will fall and those walls will crumble. You may have thought yourself trapped in a passage with no exit, but I affirm to you, I am the waymaker, and no captivity can hold you when my power is at work. Remember this, the very power that rolled away the stone from the tomb of my son is the same power rolling away the stones that block your path. As you step out, you will not walk in defeat, but in victory. Look closely, the very ground you once thought barren and hopeless will become the place where blessings are sown. You will not walk alone. My angels surround you to guard and protect you. Every step you take is watched over by heaven to ensure you will not stumble outside of my purpose. Do not let doubt blur your sight, for the enemy will whisper, "You are not strong enough. You will fall again." But I, the light, will shine and scatter that darkness. Trust that I have gone before you, smoothing every rough place and opening doors no one can shut. You are not a solitary traveler. You are a child escorted by divine strength. Let your faith rise, even if it begins with the smallest act. It might be a whispered prayer in the deep of night, a tear surrendered in trust, or a quiet decision to lay down the burden you have carried for so long. What may seem small in the eyes of the world is a turning point in mine. For with me, every act of faith, even as small as a mustard seed, can move mountains. Do you know this? When you dare to release part of your burden, I immediately take up the rest. When you take one step of faith, I take 1,000 to bring you to the place of blessing. Remember the words of Jeremiah 2:9-11, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not disaster, to give you a future and a hope." This is not merely a comforting phrase, but the heavenly blueprint I have drawn for your life. You do not need to see the entire landscape because you only need to hold my hand. I have already seen the end of the road, and you will know that every curve, every turn lies within my control. Tonight, mark this as a milestone. From this point on, the past loses its power to bind you. From this point on, the inner voices of denial lose their authority. You are not the product of failure, but the result of divine choosing. That is why I call you, do not delay any longer. Take one step of faith, however small it may seem. You will find the atmosphere around you shifting, not because the world has changed, but because your eyes are open to my presence. My beloved, step boldly into this new season. Do not fear the unknown, for I am already within what you do not yet know. Do not worry about what you cannot grasp, for I hold it all. Believe that you are not only being rescued from darkness, but being ushered into a meaningful setting where every step becomes a living testimony of my love and power. I have not called you to wander aimlessly. I have called you to live fully within the original design of your Creator. You may say, "Lord, I am so weak, how can I endure?" And I will remind you that strength does not come from you, but from the one who walks with you. When you tremble, lean on me. When you are weary, rest in me. When you cannot see the way ahead, trust that I am still leading. Tonight, you are no longer defined by fear, but by faith. You are no longer bound by disappointment, but by hope. You no longer live in darkness, but in my light. This is the very hour I am etching into your life, the hour of breakthrough. As you step forward, I am not only guiding your way, but transforming you. Everything that once seemed random becomes evidence of an unseen hand arranging it all. And one day when you look back, you will know it was this very moment when everything changed. You will not only begin a new journey, you will step into the destiny already prepared for you. My beloved child, I want you to engrave a truth deeply within you. I am the deliverer, and no chain can hold you when my power is at work. There are things in your life like invisible shackles, fears that keep you from stepping forward, painful memories that imprison your soul, and doubts that cloud the light in your mind. You have tried many times to break them on your own, but those efforts have only left you more weary. That is why I come not merely to comfort you, but to proclaim a reality. You are not a prisoner. You are one who has been set free. This freedom is not the result of your determination, but a gift from my own hand. Remember, the very power that rolled away the stone from the tomb is present in your life now. When my Son rose again, darkness and death lost their grip. In the same way, the bonds that once crushed you no longer have authority. You may say, "But Lord, I still feel weak, I still feel those chains." My child, what you feel cannot be greater than the truth I have spoken. When I say be free, no force, whether from outside or rising within, can stand against it. You are stepping out not to flee, but to walk into a new reality, the reality of liberation. I do not only pull you out of pain, I lead you into a place filled with meaning. This is the great difference you must understand. If deliverance stopped at simply escaping, you would remain adrift, unsure why you exist. But my deliverance always carries a calling from darkness into light, from meaninglessness into purpose, from sorrow into mission. That is why I guide you, so you will see that you are not merely surviving, but living to fulfill a plan already prepared. Every step in this new freedom is marked by sacred significance. Look at the life of Joseph, the one betrayed, sold, imprisoned, seemingly forgotten. Yet through those very circumstances I shaped a corridor that brought him to the place where an entire nation was saved from famine. If you look only at the present, Joseph appears a failure. But from the larger view, you see clearly the Lord, used every pain to prepare him for glory. You too are not freed merely to escape wounds, but to become an instrument of life for others. Understand this: my power does not end in the past, nor is it just an ancient story. That power is alive, moving, operating in every breath you take. When you tremble in anxiety, I am the one who stands firm to bear it for you. When you cannot find a way out, I am the one who breaks the chains and opens the door. When you feel imprisoned by wrong choices, I do not come to rehearse your sins, but to unfasten you from them and lead you back into truth. I am not only the one who knows weakness, I am the one who turns weakness into strength. My beloved, when I deliver, I do it completely. I do not loosen one part of the chain and leave you to drag the rest. I break it all. But for you to truly walk in that freedom, I need you to take my hand and trust. A prisoner whose lock is opened can still choose to stay behind bars if fear holds them back. Do not let that happen to you. I have opened the door. Be courageous and step through. You will find a new land where there is no shadow of shackles, only the light of my promise. The deliverance I give goes further still. It is not only for you, but also for your family, for future generations, and for all those you will touch. When I break a chain in your life, it creates a wave of freedom that spreads outward. You will become a living witness declaring, "The Lord has done this." And those who see you will know it was not you who saved yourself, but I who acted. That is when my glory is revealed through your life. You may wonder, how can I know that this deliverance is real? Look at the peace I have given you. It is a proof stronger than any explanation. This peace does not come because every outward circumstance has suddenly changed, but because you know that I am present within your circumstance. It is a peace that surpasses all understanding, and it is the seal I have placed upon your heart to remind you that my promise has already become reality. When you feel lightness even while the storm still rages, when you find hope, though no results are yet visible, that is the sign of my liberating power at work. My beloved, when I deliver you from the darkness, I do not leave you to walk the new path alone. I give you my protective presence, a heavenly encirclement that steadies each of your steps. Remember, you are not merely holding a torch by yourself in the night. You are being escorted by an army of angels, mighty, faithful warriors always ready to fight for you. When you sleep, they stand guard. When you pray, they carry your words to my throne. When you tremble with worry, they uphold your soul so that you will not collapse. This is not a symbolic picture meant only to comfort, but a reality already surrounding you. Imagine a fortress solid and secure, with walls reinforced and gates tightly shut. Those within the fortress may still hear the enemy shouting outside, yet not a single arrow can pierce through. You are like that. The enemy may whisper doubts into your ears, sowing seeds of fear, but his words are nothing more than the wind beyond the ramparts. The truth is this: I have stationed my angels around you to guard you. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. Psalm 3:4-7. This is an unchanging promise, and it is actively at work in your life. There will be moments when you look at your situation and ask, why am I still facing hardship if angels are protecting me? My child, my protection does not mean you will never encounter waves. It guarantees that the waves will not drown you. Like the three friends in the fiery furnace, they were not spared from entering the fire, but the fire could not harm them because my presence was with them. This protection reaches far beyond human ideas of safety, for it guards not only the body but also the soul, the mind, and your purpose. Even when everything outside seems to be collapsing within you, there remains an unshakable fortress of peace that no one can move. You must also understand that this protection is not meant to make you shrink back, but to empower you to step forward boldly. If you sit only in fear, worrying that the enemy will harm you, you are living as one who has not yet been covered. I want you to stand tall, lift up your head, and walk through the doors I have opened. Each time you step out in trust, my angels move with you to clear the path. They extinguish the enemy's schemes, block the arrows of darkness, and raise up invisible barriers unseen by human eyes. You need only believe that this is true and act upon this truth. My beloved, my protection also reveals itself through the peace that surpasses understanding which I have placed within you. That peace is the sign you are under my covering. When storms arise, others may be afraid, but you can rest. When words of slander come against you, others may be shaken, but you can smile knowing that no word has authority over you except mine. This is protection from within an unbreachable circle formed by my presence. It is no coincidence that you feel relief after prayer. That is the evidence of my angels at work placing the peace of heaven inside your heart. I want you to learn how to recognize this protective presence in the smallest details. When you escape an accident that seemed unavoidable, it is not luck, but my hand. When you unexpectedly receive encouragement just as you are about to give up, it is not chance, but my angel whispering. When you feel peace where despair should have been, it is proof that the shielding encirclement is upon you. The more aware you become of this truth, the stronger your faith will be, and the less the enemy will be able to touch you. Do not forget that my protection is not reserved for you alone, but also extends over those you love. Your family, whether near or far, is held within my hands when you entrust them to me. Angels do not only guard your steps, they also surround your home, shielding those for whom you pray. You may not be present with them at every moment, but I am always there. This is the greatest comfort. No distance is too great to escape my protection. My child, tonight I want to etch this truth deeply within you. Deliverance and protection always walk hand in hand. I do not break chains only to leave you abandoned in a wilderness. I deliver, I shelter, and I accompany. This protection is the foundation for your boldness to step into meaning, to live fully in the calling I have placed upon your life. And as you walk with an awareness of this heavenly encirclement, you will find yourself no longer easily shaken, no longer trembling before the dark, but becoming a steadfast light that shines for this generation. Beloved child, hold these words as a shield for your heart. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:3-1. This is not merely a promise, it is the reality you are living in. Walk forward not with fear, but with the certainty that my angels go with you. Live in trust, for my protective presence is the guarantee that you can step into the future unhindered. My beloved, I want you to grasp a profound truth. The trials you are facing are not evidence that I have forsaken you, but a sign that you are being refined. Fire is never sent to destroy gold, but to burn away the impurities, making it purer and more precious. In the same way, the trials in your life are not meant to ruin you, but to reveal the value I placed in you from the very beginning. When you feel the weight pressing down, when your tears fall, remember not a single tear is wasted. I use them all to carve a new image of you in the spiritual process. Look at the story of Joseph. He was once a dreaming boy sharing visions of the great future I had placed in his heart. But instead of receiving respect, he was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned in darkness. Seen moment by moment, it might have seemed his life was slipping away into injustice. But my child, it was precisely those dark days that forged a Joseph strong enough to govern, wise enough to save a nation. Without the hallway of trials, there would have been no throne of glory. I want you to understand that what you perceive as a setback is in truth a stepping stone toward a higher place. You often pray for me to remove hardships quickly, but my child, if I swept away every difficulty at once, you would never discover the strength I can bring forth from your weakness. You would never learn the art of surrender, nor would you experience patience maturing within you. It is in hardship that you learn to hear my voice more clearly. It is in suffering that you know my comfort more deeply. Without the furnace, gold cannot be refined. Without the night, dawn cannot shine. Beloved, do not mistake delay for absence. I do not delay to cause you pain. I delay to make you grow. Remember that every trial is under my control. Like a jeweler watching over the furnace, never allowing the heat to rise beyond what is necessary, I will never let you bear more than you can endure. Every hardship is measured, every trial is limited, and all of it has purpose. As Scripture says, the testing of your faith produces perseverance, James 1:3. That perseverance will become the firm foundation on which you stand within the great plan I have prepared. I know you have had nights when you asked, Lord, why me? Why must I walk this path? My child, I answer you because you are chosen. I do not place a burden upon you to make you collapse, but because I see within you the potential to become a testimony for an entire generation. If you lived only in ease, your life would leave no imprint. But when you walk through fire and remain standing, the whole world will know that it is not your strength, but the strength of the one who is with you. Trials never merely graze the surface. They reach deep into the soul, reshaping who you are. They break pride, prune away old habits, and create space for humility and trust. They teach you how to release control and to believe in my plan. Each time you endure a storm, the roots of your faith sink deeper, and when the next wind comes, you will no longer be shaken so easily. This is the very process of transformation from weakness into strength, from trembling into steadfastness. My beloved child, lift your head high in the midst of this refining journey. Remember that I am not merely watching from a distance. I walk beside you in every step. I do not only allow the fire to touch you, I am also the one who keeps the flames within my control. You will not be consumed, but you will shine. And one day when you look back, you will see that it was the tears, the sleepless nights, the prayers choked with sobs that became seeds sown to bring forth a harvest of glory. Therefore, do not be afraid of the furnace, for it is not a sign of destruction but a proof of preparation. Do not take each trial lightly, for they are sculpting the version of you that I have already designed. Believe that every step through pain draws you nearer to your destiny. You are being refined to become a lamp shining in the night, an instrument carrying hope and life. And this very refining will stand as evidence that God not only delivers but also transforms. My beloved, you have been carrying far too much on your shoulders: worries, painful memories, unresolved failures, and even the pressures of tomorrow. All of these have weighed down your feet and made you weary on the journey. I did not create you to bear everything alone. I have already spoken. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. This is not a vague promise, but the key that opens the freedom I want you to experience. When you hand your burdens to me, you lose nothing. Instead, you exchange them. I do not simply lift the weight so you are left empty. I replace it with gifts the world cannot give: joy, hope, and strength from heaven. This exchange does not happen with spectacle, but with a quiet, profound depth. You begin to notice the difference, not through instant miracles, but through subtle changes in each small moment. Once an insult could trouble you for days. Now you find you can take a deep breath and forgive. Once the darkness of anxiety blanketed your sleep. Now you can lay your head down and discover a peace nothing can shake. Once you lived seeking recognition. Now you begin to live from the love already present in me. I know you often hold your burdens tightly, believing that letting go would be irresponsible. But my child, true responsibility is knowing you cannot control everything and entrusting it to the one who holds power over all. When you clutch it, the burden does not lessen but crushes your soul. When you release it, you do not lose control. You place your life into the hands of the one who governs all things. This is not giving up, it is surrender and trust. And it is this surrender that opens the way for me to act. Picture it this way: you are holding a cracked jar, water leaking out endlessly, and you are exhausted from trying to keep it together. When you give that jar to me, I do not merely patch it. I replace it with a spring of living water that never runs dry. So when you hand me your sorrow, I replace it with joy. When you surrender despair, I plant hope. When you lay down your weakness, I pour in strength. This exchange is an unchanging principle in my kingdom. Whatever you entrust to me, I transform and return to you in a better form. My beloved child, I see the tears you shed in the dark. Not one is meaningless. They fall like seeds planted in the soil and will bear a harvest of joy. As Psalm 3:05 says, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. This is my promise. No night lasts forever, and no tear is wasted. When you hand me your sorrow, I turn it into a dance of gladness. When you give me your loneliness, I replace it with the companionship of my very presence. My child, I also know the moments when you feel utterly hopeless, when every door seems shut, and your prayers hang in the air with no reply. Yet I want you to believe that despair is not an ending, but the beginning of a hope that comes from heaven. This hope does not depend on circumstances or on immediate results. It takes root in the certainty that I am at work. When you place your hope in me, you will feel life rising up even in the desert. That hope will be the lamp that lights your path even before the dawn appears. And I know how often you feel so weak that you can no longer stand. You have thought that weakness equals failure, but I want you to see it through a new lens. Weakness is not a final stop. It is the place where my power is revealed. As the Apostle Paul said, "When I am weak, then I am strong," 2 Corinthians 1:2-1-0. The more you acknowledge your helplessness, the more space there is for me to pour in strength. This strength does not come from your willpower, but from my grace, a strength that never runs dry. My beloved child, dare to step into this process of exchange. Begin by telling me what you are carrying, whether small or great. Speak honestly, Lord, here is my fear, here is my sorrow, here is the burden I cannot bear alone. Then you will find little by little the heaviness dissolving and giving way to a relief beyond words. You will walk in a new peace, a joy that cannot be stolen, and a strength far greater than your own. Remember, this journey is not a one-time event, but a daily rhythm. Each morning as you wake, choose to hand me your new burdens. Each night as you sleep, trust that I am still at work while you rest. Through every moment, the exchange will continue transforming you from the inside out. You will begin to realize that as you live in this rhythm, your life becomes a living testimony of the transforming power of the one in whom you trust. My beloved child, I want you to understand a vital principle. I always go before you. Not a single step of yours is random, and no turn in your life lies outside my preparation. When you see the path ahead, uneven, thorny, or uncertain, you may feel anxious and afraid. But my child, I have already gone before you. I have cleared the road, leveled the rough places, and opened doors no one can shut. You can see only the step right in front of you, but I see the end from the beginning. When the people of Israel crossed the Red Sea, they only saw the walls of water rising high. They did not know that before they arrived, I had caused the wind to blow all night to open a dry passage. When they faced the city of Jericho, they saw only its mighty walls, but I had already arranged for each trumpet blast and each circle around the city to become the rhythm of its collapse. In the same way in your life, before you call, I have begun to arrange. Before you see the problem, I have prepared the solution. Before you enter, I am already there waiting. This is the assurance that you never go ahead of me, you walk within the path I have prepared. My beloved child, at times you think you are moving too slowly compared to others, or you feel you have lost your way. But remember, I do not measure your journey by speed, but by obedience. As you faithfully take each small step, you are walking in the rhythm I have set. And when the right time comes, you will see doors opening in a supernatural way, doors not produced by your effort or your calculation, but by my hand. That is when you will know that I am not only your guide, but also your strength. Look at the traveler carrying heavy baggage across a desert. He quickly exhausts himself. But if a stronger one goes before him, opening the way and bearing the heaviest load, the journey becomes possible. In the same way, I do not merely point out the path and leave you. I go with you, I carry, and I become the strength by which you continue. When you feel weak, remember that at that very moment, you are in the perfect position to experience my power. This strength is not like human strength, which runs out easily. It is heavenly strength, unending, never fading. You have faced situations that seemed beyond your ability. You have thought, I cannot do this. Yet somehow you made it through. My child, that was no accident, that was the sign that I was giving you strength. It was my presence that lifted you when your feet gave way. It was my hand that supported you when the burden pressed down. I want you to be aware of this. Not a single moment have you walked without my strength covering you. I am the quiet energy behind every right decision, the cool water in the desert, the wind that fills your sail when you feel stuck in the middle of the sea. My child, your faith is strengthened not when you can see the entire path ahead, but when you know that the one who goes before you never loses his way. At times I purposely do not let you see the whole picture so that you may learn to trust. If you could see everything, you would lean on your own understanding. But when you see only one small step at a time, you are compelled to take my hand. And in that very process, you will experience me as the one who goes before you, and also as the one who upholds you. Let your heart rest in this truth: you are not struggling alone. You have one who has gone ahead to clear the thorns, and who walks beside you to give you strength. As Psalm 4:6-1 declares, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. This is my assurance to you, whether you are in the deepest valley or on the highest mountain, I remain your strength. There is no place beyond my reach and no enemy great enough to shake me. Beloved child, keep walking, not in the confidence of your own ability, but in the certainty of the one who goes before you. Each step you take in trust will reveal a fresh testimony that I not only guide you, but I also empower you to complete the journey. And when you look back, you will behold a wonder: you were never walking alone. You will see that the footprints in the sand are not only yours, but also mine, the one who always walks with you, always sustains you, and always leads you to the place I have prepared. Thank you for receiving this message. Know that you are not merely an observer, you are chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you will not miss any of these sacred messages. Amen.